Minneapolis City.
Post goals!
The People's Pitch Podcast, brought to you by Summit Brewing Company.
Attention, listeners of the universe. Welcome to the People's Pitch, the one and only podcast covering your Minneapolis City SC. I am your host, Nate, and we are faced with a very rare occasion. John will not be here for most of the show. Hopefully he'll be calling in later on for to help me finish it out, but so we can hang out for just a quick segment. And then maybe we'll get to the bottom of what exactly his deal is this week. But tonight's show, it's going to be all city and lower league, and you are just going to eat it up. First of all, we've got our new board, our new member board, and our new board at large. Who are they? And when should we begin to bow to our overlords? We've got a stadium update, where to park, where to sit, what to drink, how to drink. And then also we want to talk about the strange standards. This is something I've been kind of chewing on all week. I want to talk about the strange standards in the NPSL North and how does that really stack up against other teams in the NPSL and other teams in the Midwest. And then finally, we're going to finish the show up with a merch spotlight. That is hopefully when John will be joining us. But let's get started with some Minneapolis City news. They announced the board members this week. We want to give a huge congratulations to David Baker, to Kate Sophia, and to Emmanuel Ortiz. They are going to be joining the likes of Dan, John, Nick Sint, the three co-founders, as well as Sarah Schreier on the board. So we've got a nice 7-person board rounded out there. And let me give you some details. If you're not familiar with our board system or with who we've got on it, David Baker will be a returning member. This will be his second year on the board. David was one of our first guests. If you remember from way back when we first started this podcast, a little over a year ago, he is also the founder of the Citizens Supporters Group, and that's when we had him on, just to kind of talk a little bit about that. David represents the Crows faction of the supporters. Like I said, he has been with us on the show, with the team, and on the road since day one. He is, according to his bio, according to his little essay he wrote to run, he's anti-Grumpy Cat, anti-shirt, and pro-beer. He promises to continue to communicate openly with the front office and what's going right and what needs improvement. The only thing we ask of him is that he put a goddamn shirt on, because taking your shirt off is your Minnesota United thing, David. And we need you to just put the crow hat on, the crow face on, and make that your thing with us. Because we need you to buy some merch, so you need to wear those shirts. Our second board member is Kate Sophia. This is her first year on the board, but she has been a very visible member of the supporters group and a visible member of the club in general. She's always been willing to get involved. She represents the Grumpy Cats faction of the supporters, which is going to be interesting. And she's looking to bolster the volunteer and the community service aspect of her mission. And I think that's great. It's important to have someone that really focuses on that. Because I think that's one of the things that people really don't think is to the forefront of Minneapolis City's mission. And I know Matt Elder was just out at the Y today helping the kids play soccer. It is very important, to the point that we ask our players to volunteer a certain amount of hours a season. It's nice to get the supporters involved and to give opportunities to our membership at large to be active in the community. And finally, we've got Emmanuel Ortiz. Now, again, Emmanuel, it's his first year on the board. It's his first year as a member. He was so hyped about being a member of Minneapolis City that he referred the most members to the club as of this year. So he not only did he get on the bandwagon, but he pulled all his friends on with him. So he seems like a really strong organizer. I think that's a strength that he's going to be able to bring to the board. He is enthused about our member owner model, and according to him, he's pumped about how soccer can be a space for community, diversity, politics, and social justice. I agree with him 100%. I am happy to have a little diversity on the board, and I think this adds a level of professionalism to our efforts to be an inclusive and galvanizing force in Minneapolis, because Emmanuel has a lot of experience as far as a community organizer, and it's going to be nice for him to kind of bring that expertise and to bring his counsel to the board. So congratulations to our board members. Really excited to have a new leadership group at the helm of Minneapolis City. Like I said, they'll be joining the three co-founders, John, Dan, and Nick, as well as Sarah Schreier on our board. It's gonna be a great year with you guys at the helm. I'm excited to see what Minneapolis City can do. Now, the first thing, of course, Minneapolis City can do is start playing some damn games. I'm getting a little antsy. We've had the friendly at Shattuck last week. I wish I would have been there to see. And if you're anything like me, you really can't wait to set foot in our new stadium so we can start cheering on the Crows. This week we got some new details from the club on what to expect at Edor Nelson Field and how to best enjoy your game day experience as a fan. Hint: there will be no surly janitors yelling at you for possibly drinking. So, the first question, I suppose, is where do I sit? Where am I going to sit in the stadium? Well, if you've never been to Edor Nelson like me, you'll be happy to know that it's general admission, so you can sit anywhere. Unlike the Barnyard, there are some nice bleachers. It's a college level stadium with some college money, so you're not going to be in any danger of falling through those rickety shits. It's not going to be quite as nice probably as the Blaine National Sports Center, but I think it's going to be close. It's definitely smaller. There will be fewer seats than Blaine, but everyone's going to have a nice space for them to plop down. I think it's going to get real loud because we're going to be pretty close to each other. The supporters are going to be loud. The fans are going to be right down there close to the field. I think it's going to be a great experience. And supporters, speaking of you, you're going to be sitting on the west side. Yeah, that's the Crip side. Closest to Minneapolis, of course, and closest to the bar, the Viking bar, which is the most important thing. So if I get to this game, you're probably wondering, what am I supposed to eat here? Is there going to be concessions? What's the situation? Well, just like last year, food trucks. There will be no shady hot dog vendors. There's going to be no shady hot dog water served up in the makeshift ticket booth. We're going to have some real ass food trucks here. One new food truck every week. And if last year's food trucks are any indication that we had at the Barnyard, this year we should be in for a treat. Of course, food and drinks will also be available post-game at our buddy bar, the Viking. And don't forget, you'll be able to get a little bit of a discount if you bring your ticket or your membership card to the Viking after the game. We also might have some Little Caesars at the game since they're going to be one of our sponsors. It might be nice to be able to offer some pizza. That is TBD. That is in the works. But if we can just expand our food horizons and keep the offerings flowing, I'd be happy about that. Pizza, so good. Pizza, soccer. Yes. So. Another thing, of course, you guys are probably wondering is, so can I have a few adult beverages at this place or what? Because at the Barnyard, that was definitely frowned upon, and despite our best efforts, the fans were frequently busted with their own barley pops in hand. So that was, of course, one of last year's biggest challenges, that ban on alcohol. Of course, it was a high school, so you can't really blame them. But this year, rather than sneak in a few summits on hot days, and if I remember last year, they did get hot, you can refresh yourself however you see fit, as long as you do it responsibly. So there's all sorts of cool news on this front. The first interesting point is that we can bring coolers in for a price. So you pay $5 if you have a shoulder cooler. Shoulder cooler, I'm going to assume, are just those little those little zippy things that are maybe can hold a 6-pack or two. But if you've got one of those, $5 and you can take your cooler in no matter what is inside of it. Also includes like a backpack if you've got like a cooler backpack or some sort of a Camelback from your rave days full of Red Bull vodka. That's $5. The other interesting point on this is it's $20 for a big old roll-in cooler. And I love this because I assume this is to help mitigate, first of all, the cleanup costs of our, to clean up after our raucous presence, and also to give Augsburg a little extra cash. But I don't know. It's great for a couple of reasons. Of course, BYO anything you can put in the coolers, as long as it's not some sort of horrible illicit substance, or you're not drinking antifreeze on the premises or anything. You can put anything in the cooler. You can drink it there. And also, I like that it rewards large groups for planning ahead. If you want to all throw down a little bit extra and bring in a big old rolling cooler, that's only $20, and that means that you guys are going to stick together. You guys are going to, the fan groups are going to come prepared, and they're not going to be wandering all over the stadium trying to scrounge up a spare Summit in the fridge in the shed. So how big of a cooler can you bring? I think this was a legitimate question on Twitter today. I am counting on the citizens to explore the full limits of this cooler admission. If someone can figure out a way to get a fridge in the damn stadium, I will definitely help stock it. I think that would be hilarious. But of course, don't forget when it's out of the cooler, a dolly. If you're gonna bring a dolly, maybe that's gonna cost you an extra $100 rental or something. We'll offer dollies if you can bring your fridge to the stadium. We'll help you get that fridge into the stadium for an extra $100, or maybe we won't. When the booze is out of the coolers, or when your beer is out of the coolers, of course we got to keep it in red Solo cups, or better yet, you can grab a Minneapolis City water bottle from the merch truck. Again, this is just to foster the pack it in, pack it out kind of mentality. If you're going to bring the cooler full of cans of beer, make sure you're leaving with a cooler full of empty cans of beer, and just get rid of your Solo cups in the garbages that'll be at the stadium. Hey, I'm pretty pumped about this. I think these details are making me even more and more excited. We're going to try all of this out. We're going to have a dress rehearsal coming up on May 5th, and that's when we're going to play a friendly at the Nelly against the U of M men's squad. Make sure you be there. A good percentage of that game is going to go to support the U of M men's squad. I think, 30%, I believe, will be donating back to them. And that will be, $3 from every ticket will be donated. So that's 30%, right? And we'll maybe do a raffle there as well. So there'll be possibly prizes that we'll be able to give away, all in the name of giving the U of M men's club a little extra spending money. Whoop, whoop. We're also going to give them a shit kicking. So that's a good reason to get there. Beyond supporting them, then I'm not going to judge you. Now, this friendly versus Minnesota, it is as good an opportunity to hone the team, much like when we did against Shattuck. But it raises kind of an interesting question, and it's a question that I've seen people have a little bit of discussion around on Twitter, and that is: are we playing these teams in preseason friendlies because that's the talent level that we really are supposed to be at as an NPSL team? Wouldn't we be better served heading to Des Moines again, like we did last year, to get us warmed up for the season? And the answer to this is obviously no. But like I said, there's been some conversation that raised this question. First of all, there's an obvious answer to this, and John would say the same. We play friendlies to get the team back in shape, to get them back from winter and comfortable playing with each other. There are a lot of guys that have never met, never played with each other before, and we want to kind of get them gelling as a unit. But also we want to show the coaches what's happening. The coaches are going to need to evaluate what's happening on the field, evaluate the talent, and build that opening day lineup to be as impactful and powerful as possible. So this centers around one. This whole discussion really centers for me around one increasingly popular position for the fans of our opposition, and that is Brian Coleman too good for the NPSL? And they think it's just not fair that we have a player on our roster less than a year removed from NASL play. Is it not fair? Well, I'm going to say it is fair. This whole line of argument is rooted in this misconception that the NPSL is a league for kids, for college players to come back and play in the summer, or college players that are just out of school that are trying to kind of move up in the leagues and make a name for themselves. And that's just not true. The PDL, that's the league with the U23 rules, and that's the league that actually has the strong connections to the MLS and to teams higher up. We can field a team of octogenarians if we want in the NPSL. Will it be competitive at all? Obviously not. But we can do whatever we want with our roster. It doesn't have to be only young guys. We can sprinkle in some old guys if we want. That's fine. Less seriously, I think that the older player playing on a team, it's a great tradition of American soccer. I think the almost too old player that kind of rides off into the sunset on his own terms, we see that happening all the time. From Steven Gerrard to Frank Lampard to Tim Howard even this year, the list goes on. And the fact is that a soccer player, or really any athlete for that matter, is rarely ready to give up on the game that they love. I'm not going to begrudge them that. But I definitely get that when they sign with your rival, Duluth, it can be a source of jealousy. In my opinion, I think talent is talent, no matter the age and the experience level. And Minneapolis City, friends, is going to need players like Coleman, like Dan O'Brien, like the Brown brothers even, to compete once we reach our goal of getting into the postseason. That's what this league is about. This league is about winning. We are a team. Minneapolis City is a team to win. And I know John will tell you that. Dan will tell you that. All of our coaching staff will tell you we're here to win. Developing players and giving them an opportunity to move on in their professional careers is a happy byproduct of that. We're giving them the experience of being on a winning team so that they can move on and continue that mentality. Winning fosters player growth. Look at Steve last year. This is a guy that or Goose even, both guys straight out of high school, all of a sudden thrown into a competitive environment, and they rose to the challenge. And now they're doing great things at their school. They're going to come back and do great things for us again in the summer. When you go into college, or when you go into college as game ready as they were, all ahead of their 18-year-old counterparts, it's only going to make them look better. And that's, like I said, just a healthy byproduct of putting together a winning formula on the field, right? Steve came out with his Twitter identity, a healthy byproduct of being on a winning team. It's part of branding. Winning is all about your brand. So, if you, as a fan of another team, think that we're OP'd for the league, that we're overpowered for the league, wait until you start to see the Detroit cities. Wait until you go up against Chattanooga, or the Brooklyn Italians, or the Atlanta Silverbacks, or AFC Cleveland. These teams do not mess around. These teams are in it for the long haul. These teams are also in it to win, and they're not going to play down to your level just because you're from outstate Minnesota or a small town in Wisconsin. It's just not going to happen. They are going to stomp you into the ground because it is what these teams have been bred to do. This is, for us, this is a dress for the job that you want scenario. It's not a dress for the job you have scenario. It's up to each team in their market, no matter who they are, to decide what kind of approach is really going to end up getting butts in the seats. We as Minneapolis City are in the position of fighting for dollars and fighting for time with Minnesota United. So we took this angle of fielding a competitive team, and we did it by going all local, and it just so happens that lines up pretty well with what people want to be a part of, whether they're Whitney Brown or whether they're Miles Stockman Wills or whether they're Tim Wills, right? They want to be a part of a club that represents the community. It's good for us that we've got a front office, a roster, and a fan base that is attractive to the best non-pro players in the state. You can't blame us for that. It's what everyone wants, and you're crazy if you think that's not what your team that you support wants. One day, hopefully, City is going to be like Detroit or Chattanooga, and we're going to be drawing big crowds. Detroit has an operating budget right now of like $1 million. Ours right now only 30 to 40,000. But one day we want to be like that. And when we start drawing big crowds like that, those crowds demand results. So we need to build our team now and start that winning tradition at the ground level like Detroit City had. Like I said, it's dress for the job you want, not for the job you have. And that's just the long term. That's just thinking about like years down the road. In the short term, think about what we're trying to do. We're preparing to win our division. We're preparing to get into the playoffs in our first year in the NPSL. And we're going to hit the U.S. Open Cup in its stupid face next year when we win another bid. So that's just short-term stuff. I think the mysterious NPSL Northerner, if I'm going to look it up, the mysterious NPSL Northerner said it best this week on Twitter. Even though we're probably, as Minneapolis City is probably favored to win the conference, the rest of the NPSL Midwest teams are on a whole other plateau than we'll have seen over the course of the season when it comes to talent, when it comes to experience, when it comes to preparedness for making a run deep into the playoffs. I mean, if you think about how we performed against Oakland and how we prepped for that U.S. Open Cup draw, that's going to be nothing. Oakland is nothing compared to some of these teams, and they fought like hell against us. I can only imagine what's going to happen when we go up against a Chattanooga or we go up against Atlanta or AFC Cleveland, who I think might have won the league last year. These guys are ready. These guys are going to be prepped, and they're going to take this about as seriously as they can. I mean, look at the Bavarians last year. They won the PLA conference that we were in, but it's all for the sake of building up and continuing on and to make a deep run into that amateur cup. They come to play and they kicked our ass the second time they play. And we want to be like that one day. No, we want to take no prisoners. And you know what? If your team isn't preparing at that level, I'm sorry, man. I feel bad for you. And I feel bad for your fellow fans. If your team isn't prepared to take being a team and take winning seriously to the point where you're gonna make your philosophy known, you're gonna put your best product on the field, and you're gonna attract the kind of talent that if you can't attract the Brian Colemans and the Dan O'Briens, that sucks. That's something to build for. I mean, there's your short-term or your long-term goal. But in the meantime, don't begrudge us, our player signings, because, while you're out there signing the remnants from FC Fargo, we're going to be pulling together the best players in the state. I mean, Eris signed a boy that's 16. I mean, that's not going to cut it. You gotta get better than that. So, is Brian Coleman too good for the NPSL? Maybe. Probably. But this league isn't about giving our competition a fair shake. This is a league for aspiring teams, as somebody said, replied on Twitter. This is a league for aspiring teams, not necessarily players. And in our second year, Minneapolis City's aspirations and goals are as high as ever. This is a team that I want my son to play for one day, and that's not going to happen unless we start this tradition of winning with the best players possible. And I don't think any Minneapolis City supporter or any Minneapolis City player, coach, or owner should apologize for that. If you guys have any thoughts on that, feel free to hit us up on Twitter. I think I'm just tired of seeing this discussion over and over again, week in and week out. We're going to get the best players possible, and you're going to have to suck it. You're going to have to deal with it. Hey, and what's this? John is calling on the Google Hangouts. He's joining me now. Let me click over here, and we will get John on the line and continue the show. All right, John is with me. John is with us. John, it is great to be able to connect for the show, if only for a brief moment. What is going on in your life that you are mostly MIA this week?
I am actually going on vacation to the beautiful city of Fountain Hills, Arizona. Population unknown, and average age of resident 75.
Oh, so that should be lovely.
Going to visit my parents, taking the boy for his first plane ride, see how that goes. But then I'll be back and raring and ready to go next week when we talk even more city.
Cool. You going to play some golf down there? Are you much of a golfer, John?
I am a golfer. I'm also a foot golfer. Fun fact, I am the second place finisher in the first ever Minnesota Foot Golf Open.
Really?
So I came in second. And it was funny, too, because it was actually a tour for the United States Foot Golf Association. It was like their Minnesota stop, like our state tournament. Mm-hmm. And Summit was sponsoring it, and what they did was they invited a bunch of the Stegman's guys out. So you had all these foot golfers, and you had all these soccer players. And of the top 10 finishers, the third place guy behind me was 11 shots behind me, and I was 3 shots behind another Stegman, Ross Coors, who plays on our first division MASL team. And then it was all Stegman's guys below that third place guy, and they were so pissed. Like this is their the Super Bowl of their their month where they get to go state to state, and we just house these guys. And the thing is we're like drinking backpacks full of beer the whole time, and we're all loaded, and we're just kicking the living shit out of these guys.
They're just taking it super seriously. It feels like you'd have the skill set to do well at foot golf. That if you'd never played soccer, it's probably not something you're going to be that great at.
It's interesting because they're used to kicking a soccer ball at something stationary, like a hole, like a golf hole.
Yeah.
Where we're used to kicking a ball at something moving and avoiding something trying to stop us from kicking a ball. So it gets pretty easy for us when things aren't moving. And these guys were just, like I said, they were so pissed. And then afterwards, we tried to share some beers with them, and they just left.
Oh.
More for us.
Sore losers. More for us. Well, listeners,
right, exactly.
if you're like John or I, your closet is already full of city gear. And with the United Gear that's running kind of the gamut from expensive to tacky, you might be wondering the same thing that we are. Are there other teams and companies that are on point as Minneapolis City? So in the spirit of non-league brotherhood, we're going to bring you reviews of the fine habiliments from around the NPSL and beyond. John, you've got two clubs to talk to us about today, and the first one is Tobacco Road, right?
Yeah, Tobacco Road. Like we were doing before with Stockade and with who else did we? And FC Cincinnati. Mm-hmm. Kind of scouring the internet, trying to find these cool apparel shops for these non-league teams or these lower level league teams, and just stumbled across these guys. And they're really interesting because they're in Durham, North Carolina, which is where the home of the Durham Bulls, the AAA baseball team. And if anyone is a movie buff, a great Kevin Costner film, in Bull Durham, and their iconic logo of the actual bull that they use for the baseball team is something that they incorporated in their logo. Recently, they were 2 years ago addition to the NPSL, and they play in the South Atlantic Conference, and they just got really cool stuff. And I actually ordered my T-shirt and found out that kind of things fell through the cracks as they do in non-league soccer front offices, and my shirt didn't arrive, but it did yesterday. So perfect timing before I went off to my vacation. And classic black tee, very similar to what we have in quality for the Minneapolis City gear. But awesome, cool logo on the front, and really cool guys to work with. The owner of the team emailed me personally to apologize, and then they overnighted everything to me. So it was pretty cool.
It's such a cool name, Tobacco Road FC. It automatically brings some character to their club.
Yeah, and they're much like our Stegman's, Stegman 77, which was the new name of our first division team that was Stegman City. But they had a rich history in the North Carolina men's division, very similar to that, winning a couple titles. They started out in 2005, and they did what we did, and they decided to go with a full amateur team. And like I said, really cool guys to work with, cool name, cool logo. I really think you guys should check them out. You can check them out at tobaccoroadfc.com, and then you can kind of tool around and learn more about them and check out their shop.
Sweet, man. And what's the other team? Another one. This is a team that is close to my nerd sensibilities.
Yeah. Yes, very much so, because it incorporates a dragon. So the Burlingham, yeah, it's just around the corner, right?
Yep.
So the Burlingham Dragons are from California, Burlingham, California. They were founded in 2014, and they are actually the PDL affiliate of the San Jose Earthquakes. So they're a suburb of San Francisco, so probably a little Silicon Valley spillover in Burlingham. But they, as you can imagine, cool iconic dragon logo for their gear, and really cool bright green, like kind of a I don't know what you would call that, an evergreen.
Yeah, it's real green.
Actually, it's Kelly green.
Okay.
And they, like I said, they're just cool, man. I'm really glad we kind of stumbled upon them. They were very successful as far as the PDL is concerned. I'm kind of looking it up right now as we speak here.
Their website is really nice for a lower league team. Like you and I talk about how most of these websites are pretty close to hot garbage, and this one's real classy. Great photography, great design.
The only thing that they lack is in their actual jersey sponsorship, or their jersey apparel. It looks kind of cheap, but all their other gear is really, really cool, and they were sponsored by PlayStation last year.
That would be a sweet kit to wear.
Yeah, I mean, you can actually go online now and you can get the jersey. And they the new one for this year doesn't have any sponsorship on it, but it's a pretty cool kind of pinstripe jersey with their logo kind of offset on the side, and really cool looking design. You can tell that from their website, as you mentioned, that they know what they're doing. They have a designer in-house doing some stuff like we do,
which is good. Some of that might have to do with some of that sweet affiliate money, but it might also be some sweet Silicon Valley money, or some just some talent, just pride in their work out there in San Francisco.
Yeah, it totally could be. Who knows? Good luck, Burlingham Dragons.
So where do they? So you look those up. I mean, they have a shop. I guess a Shopify shop. So it's kind of a long address, but I guess if you just can Google the Burlingham Dragons, it's like Burlingame Burlingham Dragons. You'll find some sweet gear.
Mm-hmm. Yep, absolutely will.
Some other sweet gear that I found is from Virginia Beach City FC, and they play in the NPSL's Northeast Mid-Atlantic Conference, Northeast Division Mid-Atlantic Conference, in Virginia Beach, Virginia. So that's like right at the mouth of the Chesapeake Bay and the James River. Nice beaches, like real sweet area. Plus so much history. We love our history. It's a huge organization, this Virginia Beach City. They sponsor like a women's team, a youth program. So I feel like they're pretty similar to the Des Moines Menace in that way.
Well, they are. They're much like Burlingame. In the PDL, it's I don't know if it's mandatory, but it's definitely encouraged with a twisting of the arm behind the back, that you have the women's division and then you have the youth system.
Yeah, I mean, so there's all sorts of great stuff going on their website. and I love the gear, and it's all based around this logo. Like the logo is so crisp. Like first of all, the black, purple, yellow color scheme, I'm really digging. I love that it's a trident. It's a real cool trident, and I get some serious nerd vibes from that, of course. But it's super powerful, super clean, and it looks good on a purple shirt. It looks good on a black shirt. I'm personally gonna go with the purple shirt with the logo. If anyone wants to check it out, I highly recommend a cool shirt. Oh, there's a nice hat too. So if you're more of a hat guy like you are, John, you can get that sweet Virginia Beach City logo on the hat, black or purple. You can get that at vbcityfc.com. I'm really into it. Another thing I'm really into is Salford City FC. So we're going across the pond for this one to a lower league English team. Salford is a suburb of Manchester. They are called the Ammies because they're the amateurs, and they play in this thing called the National League North, which is like the 6th tier of English soccer's very expansive pyramid. And it took, I don't know where I saw it or how I stumbled upon this team, but I saw the logo somewhere, and I had to do a little research. Again, it's another instance of a logo roping me in. And it's super strong. It's just a lion, a lion head. And and I like that. I like that it's kind of an obscure team. So that's two of my favorite qualities. Like I can wear something that I know no one else will likely have, and it's also kind of visually striking. The lion face is really simple. It's really bold. It's not at all cartoony. It's really angly, and most important of all, it's really unique. I've never seen a lion logo that looks quite like this. It was kind of hard to find a shop for them, but I found one, and you can buy kits, you can buy sweatshirts, you can buy all sorts of stuff for Salford City FC. So support lower league soccer across the pond in England. You can find it on Umbro's UK site. So if you go to umbro.co.uk and you search for Salford City, you'll find the whole store there. Otherwise, it's real hard to find from their website. So I would, if you're going to do a little research on them, go to their website. But if you're going to buy their stuff, go straight to Umbro.
I actually do know, Nate, where you saw the logo from. The reason why you saw the logo is because they're actually owned by a minority ownership by a few names you may have known or heard of in professional soccer. Manchester United former players Ryan Giggs, Gary Neville, Phil Neville, Paul Scholes, and Nicky Butt. So the class of 92, the famous class of 92 minus Beckham, they own each 10% of Salford City.
No shit. So this is like a team that's right up your alley, because I know you're a huge Giggs guy. Obviously Paul Scholes is embedded in our intro. This should be your squad, John.
It is now. So 50% of the ownership is owned by the original owner from 2005. Not the original owner, but the most recent owner in 2005. And in 2014, when news kind of broke that these guys were looking to maybe purchase a team, they actually had a charity match against the class of 92, including Beckham.
Oh, sweet.
So you probably picked up from somewhere on the internet connected to one of those guys that, and then the logo kind of happened and you go from there.
Yeah, definitely a striking visual that, leads us, just like all these teams, you kind of get led into like a deeper, better story, just from their quality gear and their quality merchandising.
I did find, so Peter Lim is the majority owner, and he is also the minority owner of Valencia. So that's actually where Gary Neville his first management job was with Valencia.
Oh,
so
it's all connected.
Yeah, probably some inside baseball going on there, but that's pretty cool that this team is owned by some pretty big names, and that's pretty cool. One day maybe City will be owned by Steve and AJ and AO. Big Game James will take over from Dan and Nick and I.
That would be hilarious.
So that's all we have for tonight's show, folks. Thank you so much for letting me hop on virtually, but we figured we'd borrowed enough time from last week's episode to make this one kind of a quickie. And thanks always to our sponsor, Summit Brewing Company. It's officially here, folks. Spring. Check out the new Spring Saison. It's in full effect. It's a traditional Belgian Saison. It's the latest in their Unchained series, which is amazing. Summit! Go get some. As the details about game day and team roll-in, membership for 2017 has never looked even sexier. They're on sale now. $60 gets you a season pass, a fancy new membership scarf, and the ability to make what we created your own. And of course, Nate, so much soccer this summer. If you're not quite sure you want to come for a full season, you got a busy summer, you want to hit that lake house, going to go to Disneyland or something, or you're just lame, single game tickets are on sale now. $8 gets you in the door if you buy ahead of time. $10 gets you in the door at the door. Head on over to mplscitysc.com and get whichever entry method you want for the fun today.
Woo.
Minneapolis City is out on the town helping kids connect to this fine sport, but we need your help, folks. We need the support of the people. We are the People's Club. If you're looking to align yourself with a fine group that loves to give back, you're in luck. Minneapolis City is a 501c3 that does good on and off the pitch by providing those less fortunate a safe, reliable place to play the beautiful game. It's never too early to get those deductible donations on the books. Consider giving to the club that gives back. If you want to get a hold of us, myself and Nate, we've made it easy for you. You can do so on Twitter at The People's Pitch or through our email, which once again you never do, mcscpodcast@gmail.com. All questions and comments and concerns are welcome. Like I said, you never do that, so whatever. First time for everything. And finally, as always, you can hit up the club at MPLS City SC. Again, that is all for this week. We look to get back next week with some more soccer, banter, and maybe another guest in studio for a chat. We're going to leave you with some brand new hotness from our house band, Go Get 'em Tiger. This is Highway 9. I am John, that is Nate, and you are the fans. Enjoy your week, folks.
Peace.
You got hoofed.
Gather my scale.